Live from the Export Beer Garden studio, this is the Agenda podcast for Friday the 19th of April.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
We're going to get into the Pinot Noirs later on.
Yes.
Oh, you know what, actually, let's do it at the top.
Okay.
Let's do it at the top. Heath's given me a bottle of Pinot Wahs.
Yeah,
This
is how quick they move, the Pinot Wahs.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got money, they've got resources.
Yeah.
And immediately, out of Alan Scott, Josh Scott has released a Pinot Wahs.
Scott Sorensen?
Yeah, Josh Scott.
I don't know who
son of Alan Scott.
Okay. Who is?
A wine expert, a wine brewer, what do you got, a viticulturist from Blenheim.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, straight off the bat, there's four cases of it in here. And he's kindly given us one each.
I don't even know if he gave this to me. He came over to show me what was written on the back of it, and I just took it. I don't think he actually intended for me to have it. But I quite like the thing on the back of it that they've written, this distinctive full-bodied Pinot Wahs is best served in your mortgage-free home with a Warriors game on big screen, surround sound, and your manicured feet relaxing on the poof?
Yeah, the poof.
I've never seen it spelled that way. P-O-U-F-F-E.
I think because you can't say P-O-O-F because that seems something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Complimentary pairings include roasted rabbito, sea eagle and l'orange.
Sea eagle orange.
All right,
Yeah.
sweet. Deep fried dragon wings up the wires, bottled and produced by blah, 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 blah. I quite like that. That is great.
Yeah, I quite like that's very clever copy on the back.
Yes.
Turned out very quickly.
It did, didn't
and it's
it?
got a great photo on the front, which is that classic kind of dinner jacket, bow tie, raising a glass to the camera. Very much Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, from Great Gatsby. It kind of looks like Archer, the cartoon.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen that.
So there we go. And
I quite like that. Very, very kind of him to give that to me, though
just the
I
one
suspect
bottle.
he actually didn't give it to me. I think I stole it.
Just the one, though.
Just the one. I think tonight, myself and Keezy commentating the Warriors, I think I might have a glass and just see what the culture's all about.
Okay. Make sure you take a photo of yourself and share it around.
I will not, but I'll try the red wine. I think I've been misconstrued because I came over and Jerry goes, "Oh, Lane told me this morning you're furious about the Pinot Noirs." I was like, "I'm not angry at the Pinot Noirs. I've said this a million times. There's always another seat on available on the bandwagon." And to the Pinot Noirs, I would say, and to Jerry, I said, "Come over, join us, bring your money, but take your shoes off at the door and remember whose house you're in." Is all I would say. I explained to him my theory about the gentrification of rugby and my concerns going forward that potentially they're going to strangle the life and fun out of the game. It's going to be moved to Eden Park, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff I said on the podcast yesterday. And he's like, it's a very valid point. Because we've now got wine companies.
And what about, have you heard about the espresso martinis?
No, what's involved in this espresso martinis?
Well, it's exactly the same. You just make yourself an espresso martini and sit in front of the Warriors and drink espresso martinis while watching the Warriors.
I like that because I feel like the espresso martini that's a blue collar martini. That's a blue collar cocktail, the espresso martini.
And what about the Dallin espresso martini Zalesniak?
I don't mind that. I think we need, because we've been to a couple of places that have it on tap, the old espresso martini. So I feel like maybe we need to.
You're right. It's more working class. If it comes out of a tap, well, I suppose you can get red wine out of a tap now as well. I guess, but it's
out of a goon.
Yeah, out of a goon.
In fact, I think winemakers have missed the mark here. It's not the bottle that we need. It's the espresso. The Pinot Noirs needs to be a goon.
Yeah,
it should be a goon sack.
Well, you know what? Pernod Ricard, they're just above us. They bring in country cask.
Oh, do they?
They bring in country cask. And a few years ago, we wanted to do our own goon when we were at Hodaki. And they were very close to doing it. But then they got cold feet because they didn't. It's almost a shame. They don't want to be seen to be promoting goon and also putting our faces all over it. But they were telling me how goon comes in. And it comes in from Chile and Spain. And it comes in a 20-foot container with a giant goon inside it. So a bladder the size of a 20-foot container comes in full of red wine.
We just need one, and we'll paint the container.
I know. Put a tap on the container.
Yeah.
And they decant that into vats, and then they put it into the country casks.
Right.
So into the goon. So it's a giant. There is giant goons going around the world on ships. Imagine if a ship lost a container and it came off, and then a giant goon sack is floating in the ocean, and you come across this giant goon sack of Chilean red.
Well, because it would look like a whale had bloated and floated to the surface, and it would attract all of the sharks in the area, who would then get an absolute skinful. They'll be up to their gills in booze, and you'd have a feeding frenzy of wasted sharks, hammered head sharks. There's a better pun than that.
Yeah,
but
I like what you
I tried it.
You tried it. You did.
I tried it.
And a song's been written?
A song has been written. I only caught a glimpse of this morning, so I'd love to replay it if we could. I think we've got it here.
Cameron George, the CEO, told me of a new movement over there called the Pinot Wahs. Up the Wahs became a bit of a phenomenon in New Zealand last year. It was everywhere. But now they've got a new movement they're calling the Pinot Wahs, which is the red wine drinkers who sit in front of the fireplace at home are now flicking over to watch rugby league. So they're calling them a new movement, the Pinot Wahs.
Just the Warriors.
Every time I look at Tohu or Dallin or at Wadey Gun, Shawnee J might score a try or two, or Pastor Roger who is coming inside. Sean's nickel clock's dead with that sidestep.
Not known for it.
Could find a gap to put for newer Blake in. And when I'm watching those guys from the couch,
Here comes the chorus.
might have a
Here it
cheeky red or
Here it
three. And I wanna drink Pinot Wahs when I watch the wars. And I have more than a few. It's hard to comprehend.
Here we go. So it's taken on a whole new life. So
Yeah.
we need to start off splinter groups. Like I said, maybe that's the why the espresso martinis and maybe the fat wars.
I don't feel a need to start another group.
I do. I just see how far you can take it. That's what I want to do. See how ridiculous you can take it.
Yeah. I again, like I said before, I love that these guys are getting involved with the Warriors. What sparked my anger in the group chat the other day was that Heath was claiming people are watching the Warriors because him and his elitist mates are drinking red wine. It's like, no. We've been here. Like I said, we were sitting in the pouring rain watching Sean Johnson line up a sideline conversion to bring the deficit to 40 points way before anyone was drinking a red wine in their thing. But if you get a goon sack going...
Now you're talking.
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
you're in.
And the worst case scenario is if I commentate the game on the Pinot Noir tonight and they win, I may end up having to convert.
Well, I've heard a rumor too
I
that
am superstitious.
few people aren't happy with the Pinot Noirs and they want to start the Syrahs.
What's the
Syrah. Because the Pinot Noir is a bit too light for them. They
Right.
want a deeper red, so the Syrahs apparently are rising up.
It's starting to jump the shark a little bit. I also have an issue with the way that they're spelling it because Pinot Noir sounds funny said out loud.
Yeah.
It's a great joke on radio. When you write down Pinot Wah, because you see it written down on social media, you're like,
Oh, you just lose the T.
What is it?
Pinot Noir.
no, I think you add
Pinot.
an N to the front of Wahs. Pinot
So,
Noir.
Noirs.
Because the second word in Pinot Noir is noir.
Yeah, maybe a little N, a baby
Yeah,
N
a
between
baby N.
a baby N between Pinot and Noir.
Like
Yeah.
iPod.
Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir. I don't know. Just a couple of work-ons for the Pinot Noirs. All right, I didn't want to start there, but we did. Let's take a break. I'm going to have a cold shower. We'll come back, talk some actual sport.
That was a shower.
Cold. I'll be getting into my ice baths as well.
Crypto.
Crypto, a bit of mindfulness, mate.
Yeah, do you get up at 4 a.m. and before your competition?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, man, because by the time you're out of bed, I've already got a workout in, I've already, answered my emails, taking that time for myself, and then what I can do is fill my cup. That way I've got enough to give to others.
Amazing. You should do a podcast.
You know what? No one's talking about this.
I know.
Why is no one talking about it? I'm really into breathwork, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, breathwork lately. The breathwork one gets me the most. It's like, so if breathing could fix me, you don't think we would have figured this out 20,000 years ago?
You've just
Fuck off.
said about 10 trigger words to me in that sentence. Any one of those words would want to punch the person who's saying that, and you've just said them all. So I'm really trying really hard.
I've said
now,
them ironically.
to control myself.
Here's how bullshit mindfulness and breathwork is. I used to have one of those Apple Watches. I actually still do, but when I'd wear it, it would say, hey, take a minute for mindfulness or take a few deep breaths. It helps clear your head or whatever. And it would ring a bell if you'd done it. And the only time I've ever done either of those two things was while I was having a dart, sitting out on the back doorstep.
And it went, ding, congratulations.
Congratulations. Just a few deep breaths could be great for your mental health. I was like, yeah, I bet they fuck it up.
Does it come up with ding, go over wank?
No.
That would be good, because you'd be in a meeting and go, I've got to go, guys.
No.
It's part of my mindfulness. I've got to go for a wank.
What will happen is you'll check your daily activity and it'll be like, you got in 400 steps within like a 5-minute period here and your heart rate spiked through the roof at 1 a.m. on a Tuesday. What happened? Like,
Couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep.
Had to duck off into the bathroom while the missus was asleep. But anyway, I digress.
Rub a silent one out. Okay, sorry. Black Caps.
Leave that in. Black Caps played last night.
Yes, they did. They played
at 1 a.m.
They played for approximately 2.5 minutes. So
what happened?
Okay, so they're in Pakistan. Not that you'd know, because it's on YouTube. No one's bothered picking up the rights.
Yeah.
Which is a bit sad. And as a cricket fan, it's very hard to find where they're playing, when they're playing, because whenever they're overseas, they're on Sky, except in England when they're on TVNZ.
Yeah.
And then they're on TVNZ back here. Anyway.
Cricket doesn't travel.
No. So they're playing Pakistan. We've sent a team that's not, I wouldn't say it's the number one team.
No.
It rained all day in Rawalpindi. And then at 10:15, stopped raining. The umpires went out. They said, we're going to do a 5-over match. That's the smallest amount of time you can do. And
right.
I can imagine the players were like, fuck's sake. So New Zealand were batting. They sent out Tim Robinson to open the batting. He's on debut, the one who's hit the most amount of sixes during the Super Bash.
Yep.
Known for hitting big. And they've obviously put him up the order and said, go for it, because it's only a 5-over match. Second ball he gets, clean bowled. Shaheen Afridi absolutely castles him, and then the rain comes back and they leave the field. so
all they did was just rock old Tim's confidence.
Correct.
That's basically all that's been achieved.
He's gone out. He's had his castle destroyed by Shaheen Afridi, the big left armour.
He's done it to more men than you.
And then that's it. And be like, why the fuck did we even do that?
What was the point in any of that?
Someone needed to pull a hammy on the way out or tie a shoelace. And just get that over and done with. But the first game is a washout. So there you go.
Well, reading between the lines, what I think happened there is maybe the ground had a no refunds if a ball is bowled policy.
I can't imagine anyone was there at 10:15 at night. Been pissing with rain all day.
They wouldn't have been, but they also wouldn't have been getting their refund because the ball was bowled.
They've probably got a different one, because in New Zealand I think it's 10 overs or something.
I would also look into, did anyone make a lot of money off?
Oh, yeah. Will a ball be bowled?
Yeah, off will a ball be bowled? Did anyone make a lot of money off a Freedy one wicket? I don't know.
See, this is the problem now with Pakistan's reputation now. That it's like every time something dubious happens, you go, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Anyway, so the next game's in a couple of days, but they're not a great start for poor Tim Robinson.
No, we're talking about league before, kind of league adjacent. Pinot Wahs. James Fisher-Harris. Everyone's talking about, particularly in Australian media over the last 24 hours. This is the biggest signing in Warriors history, and I thought, let's pour through what some of the biggest signings in Warriors history.
What's the definition of big for you though? Is it money or is it? Skill of the player? Is it the impact they're going to have on the club?
Impact on the club for me, I think. Because if you're going to go money, I think there's been some bigger money.
I think hype, Sam Tompkins, you got him down here. I think hype.
So that's a good one to start with. Hype, Sam Tompkins, for sure.
They signed him for so much, he was allowed to bring his best mate over to live with him.
Yeah.
So he didn't get lonely.
Yeah, it was out of control. And this happens so many times in rugby league. You pay a guy a ridiculous amount of money, and then all of a sudden he's got the weight of the world on him, and he's always going to underperform.
Yeah.
So I think that might have been what happened to him. He was like 23 or 24. I think he was like what do they call it? The man of steel over there in the Super League. Yeah. And they were like, yep, bring him over. That one didn't really work out. I've written a couple of other ones down. I think RTS has flown under the radar a little bit.
His re-signing?
Yeah. I just think for Kiwis, because we watched his whole rugby union journey, and it wasn't too shocking.
No.
When it was like, Roger's going back to league. I think Aussies were like, oh my God, he's going back to the Warriors. We knew.
Yeah.
The writing was on the wall there. Steve Price, that was huge.
Was that big? I think I always look back on that, and he built his legacy over time and became a legend. But I can't remember it being a big deal at the time. But
Well, he was already an Origin legend,
okay,
Steve Price. But you're right, it is interesting because it's like, okay, so then what impact did he have on the club? Because he played almost 100 games for the Warriors in the end. And I think he still lives here, doesn't he? Manage a Foursquare somewhere?
yeah, he's got a, I think, yeah.
So it's that one's a little bit revisionist because you're like, okay, it may not have been that big when we signed him, but the impact that he had on the club was massive.
Yeah.
Ruben Wiki, same time period. I think that was might have felt bigger when it happened. 'Cause it's like, oh, Ruben Wiki's a Kiwi.
Yeah.
You know, we're bringing him back. We never get guys like this. I had Sam Tompkins there. Eden Fanua-Blake was huge and has been huge, obviously, for the club. I just think the average NRL fan or like casual Warriors fan probably didn't know who he was. Yeah.
Me.
The Pinot Noirs would have had no idea who he was.
I'm not part of the Pinot Wahs, but
No.
I didn't know how good he was.
No. Because he was sort of he was playing for Manly. You wouldn't have really known anything about him. But it was a big coup. And I would say that he has had as big an impact on the club as any player that we've ever brought in. I think a massive part of the success we had last year was down to him.
Yeah.
Isaac Luke was a big one when he came over. That was a big signing. But I think it was met with a lot of, this isn't the Isaac Luke from the Rabbitohs, who was, smashing Petro Civoniceva and things like that. This is Isaac Luke at the end of his.
He was quite punchy at the end of his career.
Yeah, he was. He'd battled a lot of allegations of being a grub. He blew out a lot of ACLs in his younger days.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of any that I'm missing. I guess Sean Johnson coming back, but he had left.
Even his re-signing, everyone was a bit like, everyone was still a bit burnt from him leaving. So until he had that that last season where he was just outstanding, everyone went, he's good.
He's back. Yeah. People were going on mainstream radio saying that he should retire.
Who said that?
Well, they're back at the ACC now, and we're happy to have them. I think James Fisher-Harris probably won't go down as the biggest signing in Warrior. I hope he does.
Well, I'm about to say, I think intention-wise, it's up there.
Yep.
Mainly where the Warriors are sitting right now, and the fact that Eden Fanua-Blake's leaving. But he's got a 4-year contract.
Yeah.
It's that over the next 2 or 3 years. If he wins. If he wins a title for us, then yes, he will be the biggest signing the Warriors have ever had.
If they win the title this year, it might be AFB.
Yeah, true.
So there's still yet to be written. I don't think this has been the biggest splash that's been made by a signing. I think you're right, Sam Tompkins probably was.
Oh my God, there was so much wank about that.
Yeah, it was.
It was the biggest wank fest I've ever come across, and he was so rubbish. It was like, why did we sign all these white whales? Remember the ones we signed in the first season and second season? All those Super League players?
Yeah.
Like Andy Platt. Remember that? Like they were just a bit rubbish. They just would get smashed.
Yeah, and it was Anyway, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. The National Basketball Association is into its playoffs. Play-ins. Finally, it's time for G Lane to give a shit about it again.
Yep.
And the Warriors, they lost yesterday. They are done. They're out of the playoffs.
Are they?
Yep.
My son's going to be heartbroken.
Yeah, well, he will be. There's a lot of people saying that this is the end of that Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green era.
That's good for me down the YMCA because I can tell the kids who keep throwing threes when they got an open court.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
They didn't make the playoffs. So take it to the fucking paint.
Take it to the rack.
Take it to the fucking paint, you little shit.
Klay Thompson, he went 0 of 6 in 30 minutes. He did not record a point in this game.
Oh, ouch.
On top of that, the reason they were in the play, and a lot of people are saying, is because Draymond Green was suspended for like 20-odd games for punching European dudes in the nuts.
Speaking of grubs.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like you've got one guy on the one hand, Klay Thompson is an egregious, like sticks out like dog's balls on the box score. He may well have lost them that game. The fact they were even in that position was because of the other guy. The only guy who did anything this season was Steph. And a lot of people are saying that's it for the Warriors. That's the end of their dynasty.
So what's happening? They'll disband. They'll get re-signed. Well, I mean, Draymond Green's near retirement, isn't he? He's quite old.
Oh, he's got a few.
Still going?
I think he might only be 30. I think there's a few more years left in those two dudes, but I think as far as those three guys are concerned, it's over for them. The Heat play the Bulls tomorrow. I'm a big fan of this game. I love the Bulls. DeMar DeRozan's my favourite player. We watched them yesterday.
Yes, the bald dude with the sweatband.
They got,
Seth Rance.
Yeah, yeah. His name's Alex Caruso. He looks like Elmer Fudd.
Yeah.
He sort of looks like Chris Martin a little bit.
Chris Martin, Seth Rance. He's got any bald white dude who runs a sweatband.
Yeah, he sort of looks like a can of Rexona roll-on.
Yep.
Great defensive player.
Yeah.
Hard-nosed player. He may be out injured because his own player ran into him, but that's by the by. Heat are playing the Bulls tomorrow. That's a play-in game, so that's do or die. The losing team's out and the winning team's into the 8th position. And the Pelicans will be getting humped by the Kings tomorrow.
Light the beam.
Light the fucking beam. Sticking with basketball, just briefly, the Breakers have been active in their off-season transfer window. They have signed one of my favourite players to ever grace the hardwood of the Cells NBL because of his name, and his name is Mojave King.
Yes.
That is a hell of a basketball name, isn't it? Mojave King.
Mojave King. So Mojave Desert, that's how it's spelt. So a link there. Mojave King.
Just quickly, we've got breaking news. Adam's just flashed me his phone. It was a nude. No, it wasn't. Let's pause this here real quick.
This is not Tim.Naki.
Yesterday we interviewed Tim.Naki. Today he has been to the casino to place his bet. Now we talked to him after he'd placed yesterday's bet, which means that if there is a G Lane curse, then it will be in effect for today.
No.
Adam, please show G Lane the video. Elaine, what's happening?
We will hit this and pray to God. Damn, Lord.
Wow.
You've gotten away with several these days of late. Oh, yes, he's got 16. Yes. Hold. Go bust. Yes!
So he's won. How much did he win? $164,000.
Yeah, and he thanked me.
Did he?
He said, see you later, G Lane curse.
But didn't you say that the curse wasn't in effect?
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Stop turning this around on me. So that's 2 in a row for him. Well, he's not far from the mill.
No, he'd be at almost 700K now.
He won 160 odd yesterday.
Yeah, and it was a 164 just then as well.
So that's 300K. He was on half a million. He'd be almost at 800K.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's good. Oh, good on him. I really enjoyed talking to him yesterday, Tim.Naki, because he's a good man. He is a good man. When that first came out in the first week or so, something didn't smell right for me.
Nah.
And I was like, something's going on here. But obviously, but it's all genuine. He is just having an absolute heater, and it's so random. But could go either way though, couldn't he? He could be on zero within 2 weeks. This is the thing. But while he's writing it, it's good to watch.
Yeah, it is. It is. 100%. Shout out to him.
Right, sorry, we got distracted. Mojave King.
Mojave King. I was just going to go through what are the best names in sport.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We've got one in the NRL. The NRL is great for names. One of my favourites this season is Jamin Jolliffe.
Jamin Jolliffe.
There are 2 men in the NRL whose first name are Jamin. The other one's Jamin Salmon.
Well, I went to university with a Jamin.
Did you?
Yeah, but it was Jammin. Jamin.
Jamin.
I'm Jamin. He did have dreadlocks, actually.
Yeah. That's predetermined.
Yeah.
He had to. He was born with them. Fuck is a man.
Yeah. Fuck is a man's one of the greats. Because I love Fuck is a man because that's how you say his name, Fuck is a man.
Fuck is a man.
Fuck is a man, but and the Pakistan commentators say fuck is a man because for them it means nothing.
Yeah.
But all of the kind of European commentators are too scared to say, and they go fuck is a man, or like they just try and it's fuck is a man.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a charity. It's like Australians trying to pronounce Whakatane.
Yeah.
They said on a T-shirt, my dad was wearing one, and this Australian charity mugger came over and tried to strike up a conversation with him, and he's like, oh my God, mate, I love Whakatane. My dad's just like, fuck off. You're not getting any of my
Goddamn
money.
chuggers.
Gail, fuck you from the World Cup. I'm not sure about the pronunciation
He's
of
the
this.
centre for France, and I watched a French game in the Six Nations, and I was like, who's that guy? Because I heard them say it was like Gael Fossieu or something, Fossieu, but I pronounced it fuck you through the entire World Cup. So Gael, fuck you, I hope I pronounced that correctly, but it's F-I-C-A-U, fuck you. But it's actually not pronounced like that. It's just me being completely insensitive to French culture.
Yeah, I'm glad this guy wasn't playing at the World Cup, but there was a college football player who went by the name of Noah Kanega and the wider Kanega family.
So no silent K?
No, very hard K in this one.
Okay.
Knigga. I think I had Chris Key on the Agenda podcast with me when this name came out, and I was like, let's do a little flashcard game to prepare you for commentary, and I'll just flash some names, and you read them as quick as you can.
Oh, God. How'd that go?
He dodged it. He sidestepped it, luckily. One of my favourite, the college basketball and college football in the States produced the best. One of the best ones that I ever saw, he played football. His name was Dakotas. That's his first name, Dakotas. To ever do it, Crawford. That's huge from his parents to be like, we're going to call this guy Dakotas to ever do it. Do what? He better get good at something.
Is his first name Dakotas?
Yeah.
His second name is to ever do it. Last name Crawford.
Crawford, yeah.
I love the fact that middle name, Dakotas Crawford, you're like, oh, okay, that's Dakotas. That's kind of a fly name, but then his second name is to ever do it.
Yeah. I like that one. Yeah, it's like when you've got like a real packed up first name, like a Māori or Polynesian name, and their last name is just Gary or something, or the other way around. It's like Tawanui Gary. I love those kind of ones. Rowdy Beers was a college football player. Shitter Siller and Dude Person, we talked about these guys. They were college basketball players last year. Dick Butkus, famous baseball personality. Miroslav Shatan.
Shatan?
Well, Satan. It's written Satan.
There's no H in there.
He played for the Devils in the NHL. Albert Pujols, of course, is a famous baseball player. There's Dick Clapper in the NHL. There was Dick Quacks.
Of course, our very own.
Fanny Schmeller.
Yep.
Not to be confused with Fanny Blankers-Cohen, who is my favourite Olympian of all time. She's a Dutch triple jumper, I think. They called her the Flying Housewife. Back in the day, that was her nickname. Rusty Gooch is another baseball player. There was a man NHL who simply went by Ivan.
What the fuck, man? His parents are like, what? What are they thinking? Is that first? Last name's Ivan.
There's a lot of those. Well, that's how the names go over in a lot of those Eastern Bloc countries. There's a guy in the NBA right now called Bogdan Bogdanovic. You know, I think it's like your dad's name, but then you get your own first name. But if your dad gives you his first name, you're now Ivan.
Okay.
We've also got Rusty Kuntz from baseball. Dick Trickle.
Dick Trickle's one of my favourites.
And Urban Shocker, all from baseball. What was happening in those old-timey baseball days?
Bring them back.
Bring them back.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll come back with yours, please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
4 of them to rip through this morning, Lane.
Okay.
So let's get straight into them. Caller, yours, please.
Oh, g'day fellas. Hey, Trev here. Just left footy training. Had a couple of big bottle, export ultras. Hey, sorry about the personal attacks on Waimate there, Manaia. No doubt you did not meet your lifelong partner at a family reunion. Hey, in other news, we're heading up to Hornby this weekend. First bus trip for the year.
Nice.
Look, we've got 3 bottles of port to get through.
Oh.
If you want tickets, well, let us know. Cheers, bye.
Port's an aggressive option.
This is not the first I've heard of this. I have a mate of a mate used to do this in bus trips. They used to go from Burnham Military Camp down to Dunedin when I was at Otago University. And one of the guys would jump in the back seat of the car, 2 bottles of port, rip the caps off. As soon as they hit the highway, throw the caps out the window, and we're on. We have to finish these.
Before the game?
No, they're driving from Burnham to Dunedin.
Oh, jeez.
So you've now got 4 hours to finish these 2 bottles of port between you. That was his whole move.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to destroy the back seat of your car.
Yeah, I had a bad experience. I bought a flagon of port at the end of year Stein at Canterbury University and ended up just absolutely throwing that up. And it came out like kind of fluorescent pink. It wasn't good.
So that's the fluorescent green of your stomach bile mixed in with the rich ruby red of a port. That's a powerful move. I respect that. You must have been on a few bus trips in your day.
Yeah, well, one of the great bus trips I've been on was when I played rugby, and I would have told you this one, I think, in the Midlands, England, when I was an 18-year-old, and I made my debut for the under-21 club team there.
Yeah,
and we played away. We played at some quite flash club, was a semi-professional club with a premiership team. So their under-21s were pretty handy, and I think they gave us a walloping. And on the way back, there was a bit of chitter-chatter in the bus. You know, I'm brand new to the town. I didn't know hardly anyone on the team.
Yeah, right.
And then the bus stops, and they went Kiwi to the back, and I was like, okay, here we go. They'll make me scalp some piss or whatever.
Yeah.
They stripped me nude, and we're in the middle of the town, Bromsgrove town, like little village. Club's about 1.5 kilometres out of town, in the countryside.
Yeah.
And they stripped me naked. And there's like, on the bus, there's like mums and their sisters and stuff are at the front of the bus. This is what I found quite confronting at the start.
Yeah.
I didn't care. But
yeah, you don't know them.
no, I didn't know. I didn't care. And anyway, they chuck you one rugby sock. And so you're nude, and they biff you one rugby sock, and they see you back at the club rooms. It's a tradition. Your first game, you have to do the walk. And I went, okay, sweet. So I got off the bus, and I just put the sock on my left foot. And then I just walked through, and they couldn't believe it. They stalked me for ages, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just put it on my foot. And then I strolled back across. They drove off. I got back to the club. And I went into the club rooms, and all my clothes were hanging from the chandelier in the middle. Got a standing ovation. Still had the sock on my foot. And I was welcomed with open arms into that club after that.
Yeah.
I could do no wrong.
I bet you were. That's a power move, chucking it on the old foot. Yeah, you don't need to get blisters on both feet. All right. Exactly. Another caller here. Yours, please.
Yeah, g'day, 12-Toe Stewart, Grim Reaper, and the Pinot Wahs. Jake here from Ealing Station, mid-Canterbury. Let's keep this thing going. If MC Hammers do beat your beloved South Canterburyans, no nickname, this season, are you prepared to wear a full MC Hammers kit in one of your Sky Sport coverages during commentary? Get back to me on that with your rebuttal. So I suppose yours, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Mine is, I'd be happy to do that. I don't know if you were on the podcast when we heard the first time this guy came through.
No.
He was saying that I needed to stop wanking on about South Canterbury, that I haven't played for them in years, and that I need to just turn coat like Matt Heath and support Auckland now, and that I never played for South Canterbury, to which I replied that you don't need to have been a horse to be a good jockey. But I also said that I'd be more than happy to do whatever punishment he wants to dole out if mid-Canterbury were to beat South Canterbury, which hasn't happened in a couple of years, because nobody has beaten South Canterbury in a couple of years. They've been undefeated for 2 consecutive seasons now.
I like how you've created this kind of Canterbury, Mid-South, North Canterbury kind of...
We're so overrepresented.
Yeah, I know. And they're obviously the only ones who know how to work the Yours Please function on their iHeartRadio app, because they're just every week is some sort of attack on either your lineage and your power pole of a family tree, or some sort of go at South Canterbury.
Yeah, or Waimate in particular. I think what it is nobody talks about those parts of the country
So it's a lightning rod
in the media.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like I've never heard anyone even talk about South Canterbury or Mid Canterbury before. I didn't know that any of them knew where this was. So I think this is their one outlet.
Yeah.
But
if it's their outlet, it's there.
We are definitely overrepresented on the plains of Canterbury.
So
anyway,
you agree with that?
Happy to.
Okay.
Happy to. If Mid Canterbury beats South Canterbury, I will do fucking every commentary in a Mid Canterbury kit. I once came home to my girlfriend's flat at the time. Her flat at the time, she's still my girlfriend. And there were a bunch of guys from one of the local clubs there lying in the lounge with their pants pulled down, and a woman in the middle of the lounge with a tattoo gun, and she was tattooing Mid-Canterbury onto their ass cheeks. These are like accountants and shit from the local town.
That's a strange scenario to walk into.
Yeah,
were they on all fours?
No, they were lying down like they were about to be executed. They were lying down in the middle of the lounge, flat, on like planking, with all of their pants down just underneath the butt cheeks.
Like all at once. Like you can only do one tattoo at a time.
That's the part that I questioned as well. I don't know what happened with that. I do know many of them got infected.
Right.
Shout out to Mid-Canterbury. Ashburton, love it. A couple more here. Caller, yours please.
Yeah, g'day fellas. Lee Keybum here. Hey, just feel like you guys are missing a wee hit with the whole JFH news, not calling him James Fishwa Harris. So you like that? Jump on board. Cheers. Love you, babes. Fuck you, G Lane. Up the Saders. Love you, Manaia.
Like, nice out. Yeah, he's just a real copped a stray on the way out.
Yeah, yeah. He's just shooting from the hip on the way out. It's like he just kicked the door down, walked into the saloon. It was just like James Fishwa Harris. Pew, 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 pew. Door's still swinging. Thank you very much for that one. I love that. That was a ram raid of yours, please. Yeah. One last one here. Caller, yours, please.
Grim Lane, you best be not fucking or saying I really care about. If Tim.Naki loses his hand, mate, I vote Tim.Naki gets to smash your face into the fucking wrestling pad. He gets to bend you like a fucking pretzel, mate, and fucking do you.
Wow. Good news
Don't
for you.
fuck with these things, mate. Don't 'Don't 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 '
Well, look, you grim motherfucker. He won, okay? So I will get your face and I will ram your face into a wrestling mat. Okay? There you go. He won. Okay? So I'm not the Grim Reaper of Tim.Naki. He's going to hit the mill and he's going to come home a hero and he's going to buy us a beer. We'll buy him a beer, actually.
I wish we played that before. He can buy me a beer. I don't have $1 million. I wish we played that before we knew whether he won
that's true.
or lost. That was a rousing round of yours, please.
Oh,
Keep the standard up, fellas. Really enjoying that at the moment. All right, we're going to knock this on the head for today. We are starting a new initiative. I should have mentioned this at the top of the podcast. A better podcaster would have. We are starting the ACC Sportsbook, brought to you by the TAB. And this is where we're going to go through all of the odds for the weekend, how to play it, a few tips and tricks from the TAB as well, some big movers and shakers, where all the money's coming for this weekend's games, what the big bets are, what the trends are, some different promotions and things like that. We're going to be putting a bet together ourselves, our own good punt. We're calling it the three-way. So make sure that you download that one, listen to that, have a pen ready because there are going to be some tips that you're going to want to write down. We're going to make a bigger thing out of that going forward, but that'll be in this feed, so keep an eye out for that, the ACC Sportsbook, thanks to the TAB. Otherwise, Warriors tonight, me and Matt Ward are commentating Super Rugby Aotearoa next
on
tomorrow
Saturday.
night.
Joe Jury and I are headed to Taupo to the V8s.
From Room.
So we're going to have a special V8s Taupo podcast coming out, and we're going to have... Matt Watson is going to join us on that one. Matt, not sure much how he knows about motorsport, but we'll probably end up talking about fishing anyway.
Much fishing to do in Hamilton? Oh, no, Taupo. Plenty to do.
Oh, plenty to do in Taupo. But yeah, the V8's in Taupo, so we'll be there. So if you're there, come and say g'day. I'll buy you a beer.
Oh, beauty. All right, we'll see you later on. Hooroo.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.